Hey guys, welcome to the Side Diaries. Today we are going to discuss 2014 IIT JAM Structural Geology's paper. So before starting the paper, first have a look at the full analysis of 2014 Structural Geology. Overall 7 questions were asked of about 15 marks. If we look at the weightage percentage, 16% of the questions are from structural geology and which comprises 15% marks of the total exam. 2 questions were of 1 marks, 4 questions of 2 marks, and at that time no MSQ and NET were asked. It is not there in that pattern. And 1 descriptive question, very good question, this one, of 5 marks. So without wasting time, let's start to solve this question. Question number 1. We have to identify the pole to the great circle pi in the given stereographic projection. This question is similar to that of the question asked in 2015, in which we have to find out the plunge amount of the fold. And at that question, I already discussed the basics of the stereographic projection. So for this question, let's revise the concept. We all know that when a dipping plane in a lower hemisphere of the stereographic sphere connects with the zenith, we got the cyclographic trace of the plane. If we consider a perpendicular to the plane, the previous one, the dipping plane, we get a point which is the spherical projection of the normal to the plane, and while connecting that point, which is mentioned here with the green colored dot, while connecting this green dot to the zenith, we get a point, red color point, on the equatorial plane, which is called as the pole to the plane. So the dipping plane, we have dipping plane and a line which is designated by the star, yellow color star in this picture. While that yellow color star line strike with the lower hemisphere, we get a green point, and on joining that green point with the zenith, we get a pole to the plane. So this is the pole to the dipping plane. Now as the dip of the plane increasing, the pole of the plane shifted towards the periphery of the equatorial plane. So in this question, the plane pi is at a degree 60 degree from the periphery, so its pole will be 90 degree in the opposite direction from that pi. As I shown here, the red color line is of 30 degree, okay, and the blue color line is of 60 degree. So the point Q is our answer, so which is the pole to the plane pi. So answer of this question is B. Now moving to the next question, question number 2. Transform fault is a very simple question, so its answer is strike slip fault. We know that from Anderson theory also, sigma 2 is vertical in strike slip regimes. So transform fault is a strike slip fault. Now moving to the next question, question number 14. If the strike of the inclined bed is north 15 degree east, the dip direction can be. This is also similar to the question which was asked in 2016. We know that from the right hand rule that if the finger of your right hand points down the dip, then the thumb points in the direction of strike. So here the strike is north 15 degree east, so add 90 degree. So what will we get? We will get 105. Okay, 105 is what? South 75 degree east. So answer is C. Always remember that right hand thumb points the direction of your strike. It gives the trend of the strike, and your fingers are lying on the dipping bed. So its answer is C, south 75 degree east. Moving towards the next question, this is question number 15, which is again similar to one of the question asked in 2016. This question is from Ramsey's classification, morphological classification of fold, and here they asked about the parallel fold. So we apply the elimination technique here to get the answer. So parallel fold is one in which, start with the last option, okay. So dip isogones are parallel to each other. This is wrong. Why? As we know that the parallel fold is class 1b fold, okay, And in case of class 1b fold, the dip isogons are not parallel. Dip isogons are parallel in case of class 2, that is similar fold, as it is shown here. Now D is not the answer. Move towards the C. The outer and the inner arc have same curvature. This is again incorrect. Why? The outer and inner arc curvature is same in case of similar fold, that is class 2 fold, not in class 1b or parallel fold. C is also not the answer. Now option B, the thickness is same parallel to the axial plane of the fold. This is again incorrect. Why? The thickness is not same parallel to the axial plane. As you can see here, in case of class 1b, thickness varies parallel to the axial plane. So what is the last option? Option A, the orthogonal thickness is same all around the fold. Yes, this is the right answer. This is clearly shown in this diagram. In case of class 1b parallel fold, the thickness is orthogonal thickness is same all around the fold. So answer of this question is A. So apply this kind of methodology while solving such kind of question during your entrance exam. Just eliminate the options and get the final answer. As a definition of parallel fold says itself, a fold in which the orthogonal thickness of the layer remains constant throughout. So your definition itself clarify the answer. Answer is A. Moving towards the next question, question number 26. This is again of 2 marks. Here they asked about the brittle strength. So question says that stress strain deformation curve for the 4 rock PQRS are shown below. The dot at the end of the curve indicate the respective failure point of each rock. Choose the rock with the highest brittle strength. So before proceeding further, let's clear some concept regarding these different kind of terminology which are associated with the failures. So under many conditions, rock undergo permanent strain instead of fracturing if elastic limit is exceeded. If stress is withdrawn, strain is not completely recovered. The material showing such kind of behavior of permanent straining are called plastic material, and the deformation is called plastic deformation or ductile deformation. The stress at the yield point is called yield stress, yield point or yield strength. One interesting thing about yield stress is that it is not constant for any one rock type but varies with temperature, confining pressure, fluid pressure and strain rate. So this can be a question for your next exam. So 2 different kind of deformation are there above elastic limit. So first one is perfect plastic and second one is strain hardening. So these are the 2 kind of deformations above the elastic limit. In case of the perfect plastic, the material may continuously accumulate permanent strain at the yield stress. That is, the strain stress curve will have 0 slope. The slope of the stress strain curve is 0. And the material is then called perfectly plastic as shown in figure B. Now what is strain hardening? In most of the deformed rock, the stress strain curve of the yield point has a positive slope as shown in figure C. The slope of the curve is gentler than the elastic region of that curve, and the curve is markedly non-linear, which is important point to note. Strain can increase in this situation only if the stress is raised above initial yield stress. This process is called strain hardening or work hardening. So it is clearly mentioned in our diagram C, and this strain hardening deformation is usually termed as plastic or ductile deformation. So this is very important point to note. Now the rock in this limbs show different kind of structures and it flows somewhat like the fluid. However, it must be remembered that rocks are not fluid like water, which cannot sustain shear stress at rest. Okay, so don't misunderstand this point. Moreover, if stress is withdrawn after some amount of plastic deformation, such as the point X as shown in figure C, the curve falls on the strain axis in an approximately linear fashion, that is XY in linear fashion, giving the total amount of permanent strain, which is denoted by OY in this diagram C. If the stress is immediately reapplied, the curve goes back along the linear path, that is YX, to the original position on the plastic deformation curve. With increase in stress, the curve continue along the original plastic deformation path, and the strain hardening may be thought of as an elastic part of the curve and yield strength moving continuously towards the right hand side of the strain stress diagram. With continued increase in stress, the rock finally ruptures at a point which is known as ultimate strength, which is mentioned in figure C. So these are some of the terminology that we have to very clear about. Now moving towards the next question. In this question we have to give the symbol for the syn form. We have to indicate the symbol for the syn form. So here one thing that we have to remember, that the arrow shows the plunge direction. Okay, in case A, it is showing in the opposite direction to that of the nose. The nose of the bed, that is PQ, the closure of the PQ, and the direction of arrow is opposite. So this is the case in case of the syn form, whereas in case of antiform both are in the same direction, as in case of B. The C and D are the neutral folds. Okay, so this is how the small anticline and syncline showing shapes in horizontal section. So now let's move to the last question of 2014, question number 38. Based on the geologic map, answer the following questions. First one, we have to identify the nature of the surface passing through A. Clearly the surface A is an unconformity, or more precisely we can say that it is an angular unconformity, because there is an angular relationship between the beds lying above and below the unconformity surface. So A is the unconformity surface, angular unconformity. Second one is we have to identify the sets of the bed and their relative age of those set. So before solving this, we will leave this question for some time and move to the rest of the question, and at the last we will discuss what can be the relative age of these beds. Moving towards the third part of this question, we have to identify the nature of the fold at B. Clearly the dip of the beds, as you can see from the figure, the bed S dipping towards dipping towards northwest, and the axial plane is also dipping towards in the same direction. Moreover, the hinge line is also plunging in the same direction. So this is a reclined fold, and also we know that by the definition of the reclined fold, in a reclined fold, dip direction of axial surface is same as the trend of the hinge line. So B is the reclined fold. Moving towards the fourth sub question of this question. In the map, vertical fault FF cuts across the dike and adjacent bed. Find the nature of the slip along the fault. As in the question, the symbol of the fault is showing vertical, means the symbol itself showing it is a vertical fault. So nature of slip in this is a strike slip. Last one, why is the dike not displaced by the fault? Since dike is intruded after the fault, so that's why it is not displaced by the fault. Now moving towards the second part of this question, we have to identify the sets. So there is a thumb rule that whenever you move, in general, whenever you move in the direction of dip, you will get the younger bed. So if we consider the bottom portion of this diagram, that is the bed consisting L, K and H, you will find that these beds L, K, H are dipping in the southwest direction. If you move towards the southwest direction, you will find younger beds. So in this case, L is the younger, H is the older in the bottom set, in the first set. Now I'll leave this question up to you. You have to tell what is the relative age of the above set, means Q and S. So comment about this question, means what is the relative age of these two sets, in the comment box below. And with this we completed the 2014 IIT JAM Structural Geology question. I hope you learned something new from these discussion. If you have any doubt, please contact us on the following page, and if you like the video, please like it, share it and subscribe it. Thank you.